Maido! Hi there, Japan fans. In today's show, we're going to talk about some excellent advice from a journo about presenting. Present, master shimashou. This is the 5th year of the Presentation Japan Series podcast. We are beaming around the world to you from sunny Minato-ku in Tokyo. I'm your host, Dr. Greg Story, your corporate coaching and training guide committed to your success, the president of Dale Carnegie Training Tokyo, Japan, and the 3-time best-selling author of Japan Sales Mastery, Japan Business Mastery, and Japan Presentations Mastery. My new book, in Japanese, Za Eigyo, is now available on Amazon. Become a better speaker who is clear, confident, persuasive, and highly influential with those around you. Don't forget to subscribe and share this podcast with your family, friends, and colleagues. We are not being sponsored by Libsyn, but we value your privacy, which is why we have our podcast hosted by Libsyn, who, unlike many other podcast hosts, have a strict policy that does not allow access to your private information by anyone. Here is our daily podcast lineup on iTunes. Mondays, the Cutting Edge Japan Business Show. Tuesdays, the Presentations Japan Series. Every second Tuesday, the Business Tatsujin no Oshie Show. Wednesdays, the Sales Japan Series. Thursdays, the Leadership Japan Series. Every second Thursday, the Business Pro Podcast Show. Fridays, the Japan Business Mastery Show. And Saturdays, Japan's top business interviews. This is episode number 289. Today we're talking about Simon Kuper's excellent advice to presenters. I discovered the journalist Simon Kuper when I started subscribing to the Financial Times newspaper. I have a number of go-to columnists in the FT, as it's called, and he is one of them. I like his intelligence, wit, and writing style. He recently mentioned his experiences attending conferences after a long break. He outlined some advice for presenters thinking about addressing conference audiences, which I totally agree with. Let's go through them. Number 1, bored audiences. Simon made the observation that the audience is bored even before you start speaking. This can easily happen. If the preceding speakers have been awful, they will have killed off your audience for you. Simon references redundant openings as a sure signal for the listeners to grab their phones and escape to the warm bosom of the internet. How we physically walk on stage, how we start, are going to indicate to the audience if we are worth following or not. We need a power start with no hesitancy or tinkering around with the laptop. Walk on stage with supreme confidence and launch straight into a gripper opening guaranteed to monopolise audience attention in those vital first 2 seconds. Number 2, one key idea. He noted that people won't remember everything you spoke about. We have to be careful not to cannibalise our key message with too many competing messages. Simon mentioned one idea, backed up with evidence, and the use of anecdotes. He's actually talking about wrapping the points up in stories because we will recall these more easily than just data. Number 3, speak less. Simon suggests that if we have a 15-minute spot, then stop at 12 minutes. His idea is that we don't want to be blasting through our slides at the end in a panic to get through all the content. We've all seen this, haven't we? The speaker skips what looks like the most interesting slides in the deck because they are running out of time, and we feel cheated. Less is more. This stop early discipline will force us to be more concise and clear. Number 4, don't read your speech. His suggestion is to memorize it by saying it out loud once a day for 5 days beforehand. I disagree with Simon on this point. There is no shame or stigma to using your slide deck as a navigation for your talk. The same goes for notes. I witnessed a Harvard professor give a 3-hour lecture during an executive education course I attended in the business school with no notes anywhere in sight. It appeared he did the whole thing from memory. At the end, as we were filing out of the lecture theatre, I spied his secret. Behind us, on the back wall, there was a large sheet of paper with 10 words written on it. These were the chapters of the talk, so that he could keep the order correct. Number 5, be visually more appealing. Simon suggests that as we are boring to look at, we should move around on stage and look at the audience. I agree to a point. Certainly, free ourselves from the confines of being trapped behind the podium. Walk around on stage, but do it with purpose, rather than your nerves driving you to wander up and down, becoming a distraction from your message. Move to the apron of the stage to have more eye contact impact with the audience closest to you. Move to the rear of the stage to make a macro point and use big gestures to try and engage the entire audience at one time. Find out more. We come back from the break. Our show today is brought to you by our public programs, but we also do custom-made in-house classes. Now, we do them in our super safe classroom, we do them live online, and we do them in Japanese, and we do them in English. Our show today is being brought to you by, on the 13th of May, we'll have our preview. On the 19th of May, we will start the kickoff for the Leadership Training for Managers. Of course, on the 20th of May, we'll have the kickoff for the Winning with Relationship Selling program. On the 28th of May, we will have our ongoing series, our professional education series for executives. Check out our website at www.dale-carnegie, carnegie.co.jp. Lots and lots of value for you there. Now, to do better in Japan, email me at greg.story@dalecarnegie.com. Get my best-selling books, Japan Sales Mastery, that's the Bible for selling in Japan, and Japan Business Mastery, and my new book, Japan Presentations Mastery. If you like learning by watching videos, there are over 1,000 there for you at Tokyo, Japan, Dale Carnegie TV on YouTube. We release 3 TV shows every week on YouTube. The Cutting Edge Japan Business Show, which is the premier business show in Japan, comes out Mondays. Fridays, the Japan Business Mastery Show, and Saturdays, Japan's top business interviews, where I interview leaders in Japan from SMEs all the way up to the corporate captains of industry on one topic, leading in Japan. Every second Thursday, we release the Business Pro Television Show. Don't forget, you can email me at greg.story@dalecarnegie.com. Welcome back. Number 6, use slides or videos. Again, I partially agree. Simon makes the point to not use slabs of text and that your mouth is for words and slides are for pictures. This is a good idea. And certainly pictures are brilliant for engaging the audience. What we put on the slides can be tricky. I watched the Japanese chief economist from one of the major global banks give a presentation on currency movements, which is a very topical subject here in Japan at the moment. He was a very smart guy. His talk was very good. Astonishingly, his slides were very amateur. He made a very common mistake we often see here in Japan of just putting up the content without thinking about whether the audience can absorb it easily. The slides were too dense, and there were too many graphs on the one page. He needed to simplify his visuals such that we can get the message in 2 seconds. If it takes longer than that, it's too complex. Also, we should be careful of the visuals competing with us. They must be our slave, and we must dominate the proceedings. Number 7, avoid cliche jokes. Simon is right to say we should skip boring statements like, "I have the difficult spot after lunch, ha ha ha," or introducing a panelist, and finally, last but not least. Without much further ado is a pet hate of mine as well. Probably no one in the audience has any clear definition of what constitutes an ado, and we should do a better job of getting proceedings underway. Number 8, use simple language. Simon made this point in reference to non-native speakers of English, but I think it is something we should all adopt. Number 9, forget motherhood statements. He pointed out the weakness of stock phrases such as, "all stakeholders need to work together." I laughed when he wrote, "Don't say things that are obviously false, such as, 'we value all of our employees.'" Number 10, give Marcus Aurelius a rest. Regurgitating well-known quotes falls flat because we all know them. There's nothing new on offer. I suggest you find a quote which is pithy and not so well known instead. We will learn something new and valuable, and we will feel better as a result. We instinctively know these points, don't we? But sometimes we get carried away with assembling the slide deck and we forget the medium we are operating in. The chief economist I referenced earlier was oblivious about his presentation's impact, so there are still some major gaps in understanding on display here in Japan. Let's take Simon's points and work on them so that when it is our turn to speak, we are the outlier, the one person the audience will say made the whole conference worth attending. Thank you for joining the Presentations Japan series. If you got value from today's show, spread the love around and share it with your family, friends, and colleagues. Don't forget to subscribe and share this podcast. Immediately apply what you have learned today, use it, and go out there and become a presentations legend. Remember, I'm your corporate coaching and training guy in your corner, committed to your success here in Nippon.